What is happening there? Gamer Dude here, and Game Freak, the developers of Pokemon, have had they've been hacked, and now information is leaking about things like their future projects, code names for things like what the next Switch successor, I guess, is going to be, and things like that. And this all came thanks to my attention by regular commenter Mojave Knight 17. Very much appreciate that. And so I'm actually making a video about it because this feels quite impactful for a number of reasons. But before I get into the details, just wanted to say, hey, if you like my videos, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and of course comment below, because by doing all of those things, it helps to spread my channel out to more people by appearing into their up next or their home pages or whatever have you, so that, you know, it just gets into the algorithm in that way. And of course, if you prefer an audio platform, I do have a link to my Spotify in the description below. But let's talk about Game Freak, the developers behind the mainline Pokemon games, having been hacked and having multiple games on the way, or that they have been working on. And one thing that surprises me is the fact that they actually have a new multiplayer title in the works, which is a surprise to me, if I'm being completely honest. Because I didn't think that they would go in the way of like a multiplayer heavy title outside of, like, say, something like a Pokémon tournament. And sure, you could potentially consider Pokemon games to have some multiplayer aspect to them, but not be multiplayer centric or heavy. But then again, Switch's online infrastructure hasn't been considered particularly strong. And actually, speaking of which, I should say, Pokemon developer Game Freak reportedly suffered massive hack and revealed several end titles as well as a codename for the Switch 2. Now, people are calling it the Switch 2. We don't actually know what the console is going to be called, and at the end of the day, like, we probably will never be able to. But people are really clamoring for information around the next successor, or rather the next device following the Switch. And I don't know if I'm making this up in my head, but I might have read at some point that it's going to, like, we're going to see more information around March of next year, so March of 2025. I might be completely making that up, but there was some reference to that. And Nintendo knows people are clamoring for information, because every time there is a Nintendo Direct or anything along those lines, they always say there's going to be no mention of the Switch successor in this presentation whenever they announce it. So that's actually quite interesting to know. So according to Central Leaks, there's Codename Synapse, which is a new Pokemon game developed in collaboration with Game Freak and ILCA, which is a multiplayer / battle focused game. Now these are the files for it. Now I don't know what the actual file type would be for Switch devices versus developing on Android / iPhone, so I'm not too sure if this would be on the Switch specifically, or whether it would actually be on mobile, for example, because yeah, Game Freak can develop games. I'm not familiar with ILCA, but it might be worth considering that it might not be something that'll appear on the Switch necessarily, but it could very well be the case. And so, yeah, like I said, a multiplayer only or multiplayer heavy Pokemon MMO of some kind is an interesting idea, and I'm not too sure if people are going to be particularly enthused by it, considering that some of the newest Pokemon games aren't running particularly well unless you play those games on hardware that is not intended by Nintendo / Game Freak / Pokemon Company, you know. If you play those games on other pieces of meatier hardware, yes, the game runs a hell of a lot better and could be a genuinely good game to play. But, you know, they have added some unique elements that make me want to play the game. It's just that I really cannot be bothered to, especially if it, like, you know, crashes and runs poorly on, like, the Switch itself. That being said, the hack also includes source code for Hard Gold and Soul Silver, so the actual, like, source code for it. And of course, the confirmation that Game Freak is currently working on Gen 10 successor to the Switch, which is seemingly codenamed Ounce. So Ounce is the Gen 10 for the successor to the Switch, which is codenamed Ounce. Wait, hold on. So Ounce is what the name of the Nintendo Switch console is, and they're working on a 10th generation of Pokemon for the Switch, which I'm actually curious as to what you guys want to see with the next generation of Pokemon, because I feel like Pokemon is at its best when its national dex is consisting of only new Pokemon, and they don't bring Pokemon back from different previous generations until you unlock the full Pokedex after beating whatever the Elite Four equivalent would be usually. I think we can all agree Gen 1 did that really well, Gen 5 as well. And in my opinion, when it comes to post-game content, Gen 2 and Gen 3 did a really good job. Specifically with Gen 2, you play through all of the second-gen gyms, and then you beat the Elite Four, and then you have access to the Gen 1 map after that, and you can go through and then beat the gym leaders of the first gen. And when I am talking about Gen 3 being a really great post-game experience for Pokemon, I'm specifically talking about Emerald and the Battle Frontier, giving you another map and another group of series of challenges that work in a fairly different way, where you go through each of the facilities, win a certain number of matches in a row in order to take on the head of whatever that facility is. And there's 7 facilities in total, whether it be the Battle Pike, the Battle Tower, the Battle Factory, the Battle Arena, the Battle Palace, the Battle Pyramid. That was an annoying one. But yeah, there's a lot of different things there that you can really sink your teeth into, and each one working in different ways, testing different things like your Pokemon Spirit, because in that case your Pokemon is picking its own moves based on its nature, or testing your luck, where you've got 3 doors in front of you and you need to go through door by door, and you pick the doors yourself. So it's really just a matter of luck as to whether or not good things will happen or bad things will happen. And then the Battle Factory, where you borrow Pokemon, and you, based on your knowledge of Pokemon, you select the Pokemon you want to use, and then you fight against other trainers who are also borrowing Pokemon from the Battle Factory. But yeah, Game Freak and Nintendo are yet to make a comment about the hack since it occurred recently, but if Insomniac and Rockstar Games situations are anything to go by, we can likely expect some kind of response soon. And that is true. Currently, nothing has officially been said by Pokemon Company Game Freak or Nintendo, considering that they are working on a lot of Pokemon content. So I feel like it's also fair to say that Pokemon Company haven't said anything either. So it's quite a fascinating situation all around. So let me know what you guys think about all of this in the comments below. I wanted to thank Mojave Knight 17 from the comments, just letting me know about the situation, and then I kind of started looking into it. And yeah, please like the video if you liked it, subscribe to the channel. I'm aiming for 400 subs sometime in the future. Don't think it'll happen by the end of the year, but hey, anything can happen at any time. Also, if you prefer an audio platform, I do have a link to my Spotify in the description below, so feel free to give that a try if you prefer audio platforms. But with all that being said and done, I do upload every day, so I'll see you guys tomorrow.